Hey there, this is Heather with Especially Paper. I'm going to show you how to color some paper leaves for fall using alcohol ink. These leaves that I'm making will be added to a paper flower arrangement, and at the end I'll show you how I wire the leaves to add to arrangements. We're going to walk through coloring the yellow leaves, but the red leaves follow the same technique. The template for these oak leaves can be found at especiallypaper.com. There's an SVG file for cutting machines, and this template does work on Cricut Joy. You need to use the 4.5 by 12 inch cutting mat. Of course, you can also use other Cricut machines, your Silhouette machine, or any other that can use an SVG file. For the yellow leaves, I'm using Galaxy Gold 24-pound text weight paper from Astrobright. This is the paperweight that you typically use in a printer. The red leaves were also cut from 24-pound Astrobright paper, but in rocket red. I'm using a foam tray that I saved from some vegetables. I've obviously used this tray before. It has a little color from my previous projects. I'm okay with that. I don't mind the additional tinge of color that I might get for this project. Pour a shallow amount of 91 isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Pour some rubbing alcohol into the tray. Be sure that you pick up the stronger rubbing alcohol. It has less water and is better for working with alcohol ink. The ink I'm using is from Ranger, and I'll include some links in the description if you'd like to check out their ink. The colors are dandelion, coral, willow green, and butterscotch. I always wear gloves when I'm working with alcohol ink because it does stain. If you get it on your nails, it's probably going to be there a while. I reuse my latex gloves a few times. If you do that, just be aware that some of the color may rub off of the gloves and use a new pair if that's going to be an issue. Dip a leaf into the rubbing alcohol. Wetting the paper with alcohol helps the ink spread and blend into the paper. Drip some ink onto the paper and spread it with your fingers. Touching the ink of the leaves with the gloves creates some texture so that the color isn't flat. Lay the leaves on a few layers of paper towel or newsprint to soak up the extra ink. This also helps the pieces dry a little faster. Here's another technique to add texture. While the paper is still moist, put some fresh rubbing alcohol on a clean, textured paper towel and dab the leaves. It will lift some of the color in the pattern of the paper towel. If your alcohol ink bottles have gotten crusty like mine, clean them up with a cotton ball soaked with rubbing alcohol. Before the leaves dry completely, shape them by hand. Crumple a little, curl the tips. Keep in mind that these leaves would have fallen off the tree already. It's okay if they're not perfect. It gives them character. If you want to take the detail a step further, use an embossing tool to emboss veins into the leaves. A blunt quilting needle or a scoring stylus from your Cricut machine also work well. And here's the final step if you'd like to add these to an arrangement, wiring the leaves. I recommend wiring them and grouping a few together. I'm using 26 gauge floral wire. Glue a short length onto each leaf. Group 3 or 4 leaves together and twist the wires. Later, once I'm ready to add them to the arrangement, I'll use floral tape to attach the group to a longer floral wire. Here are my leaves all ready to go. You can find this oak leaf template as well as many others at especiallypaper.com.